everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Future Focus CXOs. I have a very exciting guest today, and you're really going to enjoy the conversation with her. Without further delay, let me welcome Gulya Kyzy to our podcast. She is the CFO of Cydeo. Gulya, over to you. Welcome to the podcast. Why don't you give a quick introduction of yourself, and then we can jump into the questions.
Yeah, hi Jay, hi Steve. It's nice to be here. As you mentioned, I'm a CFO at Cydeo. Cydeo is a tech company based in McLean, Virginia. I've started working with Cydeo back in 2016 when it was a startup. There were two founders, one employee, and I was the second one. My background is in finance, and I did my MBA here in Virginia. I also took some coding classes. I started my master's in computer science, but then I decided that I would rather go to continue my career. So it was a perfect match for me where you have education, tech, finance. And though I was officially doing a finance part, but because the company was small, I was wearing different hats from admissions to bookkeeping and everything else. So I was there to help the team. And because I was sold on founder's spirit, vision, I knew this company is going to grow. That was exciting start. And eventually throughout these years, I only see the positive things and this culture evolving and growing and helping thousands of people.
So maybe the first question is, give us a walkthrough of your career path. How did you reach to the CFO? You also touched a little bit upon doing some computer science, doing some coding. I'm a hardcore technical guy, so very interested to know how did you change from that to be a CFO?
My bachelor's is in finance from back my country, Kyrgyzstan, and I did MBA here in US. Then I saw that there was a trend going to IT, and my MBA had a sub-major of project management. So it was first exposure to IT, and I decided to take some coding classes. It was initially from just small trainings, and then I decided to do my master's, but then I dropped, as you mentioned. So I decided to stick into finance actually and business. But at Cydeo, I saw that they needed some help in building the system, first of all, because this was small company. Owner himself was collecting cash and checks, and he was losing, and many people would not receive invoices. That was my first project as I took how to automate things, because the payment plan is very friendly, customer friendly, but it's not friendly for the company because it has to be monthly and you have to keep bothering people. So I worked on with the help of CEO. He gave all the resources that I needed to build this automated charging system. Then eventually, after a couple of years, as company grew, I was involved in implementing bigger ERP. And all of this taking responsibility probably led me to get promoted from just junior so-called positions into more like director, VP, CFO. All of this came as a result of taking more responsibility. Also, on the other side, I was enjoying this. I was not taking it like, what should I do to become this or that? I was just, how can I solve this issue? And then with solving issue, you put some value into company, and company sees the value in it and wants to give back. This is what I saw from my rapid growth career.
Okay. And I think one question that comes to my mind as a follow-up is, and this also relates to a lot of things we see on LinkedIn today, which talks about how to be a leader, right?
Mhm.
Almost, I see 2 posts a day, right? But nobody talks about how to be a good employee, right? Because a leader was a good employee where he reached, and you have a very good success path towards it. Do you mind maybe highlighting 4 or 5 things? Taking more responsibility is one you said, but do you mind telling us more about how to be a good employee, or what did you do to be here?
Definitely, because I was firstly doing mainly bookkeeping and accounting, I was supposed to be good in that. If I was missing some technical knowledge, I had to learn that to be able to do whatever company needs at that stage of the company. When I joined, there were like 30 people, customers. Then it became like thousands of customers. It needed some more skills. So I had to keep growing. That's one of the things that I keep taking the classes, enhance my technicality, but I reached the point where technicality is not enough to get next promotion to become manager, because at the manager point you have to lead the teams. You cannot keep doing everything yourself. For the good employee, you have to be very technical and you have to be able to do your stuff, self-manage. But to become manager, you have to be able to delegate this stuff, to trust people that they can do this. That time, just before my promotion to CFO, my CEO founder is very helpful. He was the one who would also trust in me. My husband is the second person who always supports me. He gave me resources and introduced me to coaches and mentors who would help me to build the path for growth in leadership. Then first, I somehow figured out how to be a good employee myself, but to become a leader, to switch to managerial role, I need some help with more experience and coaches and mentors.
That's so nice. So you are saying be technically good at what you do as a first step to be a good employee, right? Take more responsibilities, right? Ask for help because as you grow, you definitely need help. So don't shy away from it. You also said that continuously retrain yourself, reskill yourself, right?
Yeah, that's
And
absolutely.
I think very great, good qualities. And I think once you start becoming manager, trusting people is, I believe, the hardest part and will not get into being a good leader. I only wanted to stick to being a good employee here. So thank you for your answer.
I have a question. You talked about your company growing from just 30 people to now you have thousands of clients. So going through hyper growth like that requires a lot of changes in decision making. So as you were working close side by side with the CEO through that time, how did the decision making change through the hyper growth phase? Like, for example, the way you manage, integrate, or spend money on technology versus how do you also manage a larger team? What sort of things did you feel the decision-making process had to stay relevant in a larger organization?
Sure. So if previously we were playing with smaller software and there were like two people, we could fix things very fast. Now you have larger teams. From team perspective, if it was initially like 4 of us, then it became 300 of us. The team were globally with IT boom and offshore teams. Now we had to manage hundreds of people, and that led us to use some technologies like messaging. There was no way we could see each other personally anymore. Keeping data of those people, like even tracking PTO became an issue. If
Oh,
previously
yeah.
we wouldn't even take PTO when you're 3 people working, right? But as you grow, all technicalities that you wouldn't know as a small company became reality. First time we hired a full-time project manager. He was very experienced from outside. So all of this implementation software, we had to have some very experienced person. And internally, we were able to be a subject matter experts and support him on what we need and how to implement all of this. When it comes to teams, our company CEO is a visionary guy. Even when I started, there were only 3 people, and he would have like vision to become a company that serves millions of people. So from the very beginning, we knew in mind that this company is going to grow. But now when we face the reality, we had to use experts from outside to be able to train us, to be able to guide us, and to be able to implement all of this. Now we started having more managers, a hierarchy, and CEO needed support. It was not one-man show anymore. So we ourselves had to grow to be able to manage all of the systems and people. And that's a good side of hypergrowth, coming with challenges, but this was the time when we learned so much and so fast.
You said you got ahead of the game sometimes around a certain area. So you can probably just tell me that story again. But then some areas you didn't, where you're stumbling into, oh, we have a new problem we have to address. But maybe point towards what was the thing that helped you do that. Maybe that may have been the strong culture or a good communication planning or having a good visionary being able to adapt and willing to make the changes necessary. It could be any of those things. So let's start there. So how did you solve this problem as you grew when you kept finding new and new things to have to adapt to?
Yeah, so because we give responsibility to people and they're able to come up with ideas, we all trust each other and we can listen each other. We're open for any feedback. So it helped us to be able to listen and hear what could be the potential solutions. Some of the things we didn't have internal experts, so reaching out to HR experts, reaching out to lawyers to ask this, and then trying to find out how to implement this. And obviously, culture that we trust each other and we know that we could make mistake, but this is the better solution among all of this, and this is the best we can implement, was helpful to make decisions in uncertain times when we had to make sure that we're not missing our bus.
Yeah, and I think you touched upon culture, and culture is, I think, in my opinion, can make or break a company, right? There is a very well-known saying that culture, can eat your strategy for breakfast, right? And you are deliberate about building a strong culture. A trusting culture is what I'm understanding, right? Can you put more light onto it, that how do you really build such a trusting culture, right? And what checks and balances you put into, especially when you're growing so fast?
Definitely. So it probably starts with leadership team, especially founder. If
Mhm.
what he's telling and his vision is something we believe and want to pursue together, that was
Mhm.
the foundation of that. Initially, it was all in verbal. Then in 2022, we verbalized this. We did rebranding to be able to put it in visionary. So when we were doing hiring, we want to make sure that we have these values and every employee understand that. During the hiring process, we would try to see the personality of these people. Would they fit into what we believe is true within our organization? Would they be a good fit? And then are they able to learn if they're missing some technical skills? The good culture, strong culture, in my opinion, is starts from the leader and how leader can make sure that every person in team, regardless of their title, where they stand, is able to understand what we're all pursuing. For us, it was like, we understand I manage accounting team, and this is the toughest team to be when you have to collect money and
Oh
people are
yeah,
not
oh
always
yeah.
nice. So when I talk to my team, I want to make sure that they're there to collect money, not because they're bad people, but because we want to make sure that the company is sustainable and we are able to grow and serve more people and help, though it sounds like cliche, change lives, but really education is all about changing lives
Oh
to give
yeah, absolutely.
better future. Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah,
we make sure that we share the success stories with everyone, especially internally, take care of our employees' morale so that they understand what we're all pursuing and why we're here.
So you mentioned as an ed tech, it does require a certain amount of empathy to want to teach, to create a company that teaches. But at the same time, as you're growing, and you said you have a strong culture and you have great retention of your employees. So how do you explain the process of leadership development within your company, especially around helping where titles didn't exist, you're creating positions, right? You weren't a CFO, there wasn't a CFO when you started, now there's a CFO role. Like, how did that happen to the process of creating a leadership development within Cydeo?
Yeah, as you mentioned, empathy was something that we always valued. It was interesting for me on reflecting how did I became CFO at this company, but I was thinking like I always had good relations with any team members. It's not like this is my team, I only care about them, but let it be tech support team, let it be enrollment team or any other team in structure. When I see them or when I talk to them, I want to make sure that they leave with good impression and they leave with that I was able to help them to the extent of my knowledge. I might not know all the details for academic, for example, but I'm there to ask basic questions. How are you doing? Starting from that, and then even asking what are your challenges, and if I'm not able to help, if I can connect them to someone who can help. So taking care of people's concerns and making sure that they have voice, like it could not be the solution that we can implement right away, but telling and giving them the sense that they are heard and we care of each opinion. Sometimes like little asking of something can lead to solving a huge issue, especially in leadership role. You are so sold on strategy and these cliche words that you might forget about daily things that are not able to get fixed and that are becoming bottlenecks for some processes. So making sure that you are always there to hear employees regardless of this is direct report or not, and not become a ruler of this place, not getting entitled with your title. Initially, especially when I was promoted to CFO, I felt really uncomfortable. I wasn't even able to say I'm a CFO. And then I realized that it's not only for myself, but it's for team to know that I'm there to help them. And from that perspective, it was much easier for me to tell, I'm CFO, I'm here to empower, encourage you, and you can come to me and tell me what you need, what you want, and I'm here for you.
Okay, that's such a nice thing. I think we are very fortunate to have you. Gulya, I have to say that. But I want to change the gears a little bit. And since you guys have grown so much, you definitely have gone through a lot of technology projects and adoption and things like that. And now we are at crossroads of AI, right? A lot of people spoke about it, but with OpenAI, with ChatGPT, it started becoming real, right? And companies started looking into saying that how can generative AI, as we call it, assist us and help me and my employees and other things to improve productivity, do their job better, and get some of the things. So talk to us more about how do you look at AI, number one, as a CFO, right? How would you fund such kind of initiatives? Because it's not like implementing oracles of the world, right? Which hundred of companies have done. It's a very cutting edge new technology. You don't know what to expect. It also comes with certain risk factors, right? So it has bias, it has plagiarism, it has a lot of other factors which also needs to be taken into consideration before it can put to real use, right? So how do you look at AI, number one, and how are you guys adopting it in your organization?
Throwing back for a couple years ago, we are mainly an educational company, but we started building our own software to be able to expand and to be able to not get biased information to our students. So we built our own platform to be able to answer all of the needs for ourselves and our students. Now we're looking into ways how we can embed the AI capabilities. We're in learning mode like everyone else. But what I saw so far from ourselves too was ChatGPT became publicly available. First jobs that were eliminated are unfortunately assistant jobs, because people are not Googling anymore a lot of information. If you're able to prompt properly, to ask the right question, very precise, it's able to serve you as a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
So it always says, I'm not a lawyer. Make
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
you
yeah,
help.
oh, yeah.
It's there to help you to do any research of market research. I mainly use it for lawyer questions, HR questions when it comes to finance, or how would other CFOs do this if they were going through this and that. So it's very helpful. It has a lot of information. And if you're able to make sure that what you're asking is very specific, it gives you specific information. When it comes to bias, unfortunately, the data that was put there is something that it will give you back. And I hope that with rapid growth of other companies' software and ChatGPT being enhanced all the time, it will become less biased. When it comes to security of the company data, I was recently attending one of the seminars and they were mentioning that you have to have privacy rules in your policies. It could be 1 page, 2 page, but you cannot put all the information there and expect that it would not get public because this is open source.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes, it's exciting to have AI, both in education. We don't even know what it will become now. How would the normal teaching, university, college, are they going to die soon? Is it like what we are providing, short courses that people have to frequently take courses to be able to enhance their knowledge? But for sure, AI can take your job if you don't adapt to AI. Able to use it to support your being CFO or any other employees. I couldn't imagine now writing nice email without the help of editing of ChatGPT. Grammarly was helpful previously, but now it doesn't serve all of the needs that change so rapidly within less than a year that people started using it.
One of the things I've seen, we've used a lot of the AI for improved coding, using it to validate code, doing things like that. And I know that you teach that. That's a large portion of what you teach. So how is that impacting, A, the opportunities that your students can get access to? B, is it changing the way you're having to teach them?
Yes, so recently we embedded AI teaching into our curriculum. So we started doing some projects which have AI, like we have alumni, thousands of alumni. We want to make sure that even though they graduated, they took our course and they paid, but we want to make sure that they are upskilled too. So we're inviting them for free courses or paid courses, whatever, so that they can learn on hands. And as a lot of companies and people know, right now IT is in kind of stagnation mode. Everything is frozen and a lot of people don't know what's going to happen. But still, even if you're a developer, tester, or any other IT person, you have to know how to use AI, coming back to that. From our side, what we're doing is we're embedding our curriculum to make sure that our employees, students, are the best in the market, what they can put AI into their resume and really do the projects and everything else. For ourselves too, we started using AI to help our career team, especially. We start from there because we want to make sure that our students are able to find better jobs with AI and everything else embedded in our curriculum. But we're going deeper into our other operation sites.
Oh, I guess I have one more question. I'll finish this up with you. Basically reflecting on your career journey, which is different coming from, I'm a finance background, Jay's a technical background, you ended up in both. But what advice would you give to an aspiring CXO or CFO in the tech industries as they're moving along and they're trying to work their way into the C-suite? You know, what do you feel that was some key advantages that got you to be able to capture that role and stay in it and be successful?
Yeah, so when we think of leaders of previous generation, we always see a ruler most of the time. You see a person who is in elder ages than nowadays CXOs. And I was not sure if that was a good fit for me at this young age as well. But my mentor, he's CXO as Ford, and he mentioned that you have a very long way to go. So you shouldn't miss your train. If people think that you deserve this position, you have to jump on it and you can do that. So I think that first of all, people have to trust you that you're capable of doing that. And because we might be missing some communication skills, technical skills, and everything else, if you decided that this is the role you want to pursue, you have to build a roadmap, either yourself or with the help of mentor or coach that can help to identify what you're missing and then pursue to it. What I saw, if you have a plan, then you will see more opportunities opening up for you. One of my plans was to take course in one of the top universities. I was not sure what it would be, but within a couple months after I wrote this, it was CFO program at Columbia. When I applied to that, my employer founder, he said, yes, of course, I will pay for it. And then they are like, oh, you're taking this course, why don't we give you a title right away? So all of these things, when you figure out what you need to become a CXO and you start doing that, everyone else will start helping you in that road. And of course, it's not only of becoming one, but staying and serving in this position. It comes with a lot of responsibility. And I think that some people are really good superstars and they lack technical stuff. But if you want to be more involved in business side, in decision side, and managing teams, then CXO is a great path to become one. So be able to and want to take responsibility not only for yourself, but for business and for teams.
Great advice. Great advice, Gulya.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. I don't have anything more, Steve. Yeah, it was amazing talking to you. Thank you for sharing so much good insights. Any last thoughts you have before we close the podcast?
Yes, thank you, Jay and Steve, for your time and for inviting me here. This is my first time attending
Okay, you did
podcast.
very well.
You did very well.
It was very exciting for me, and I tried to be as authentic as I can. And thank you for your time and for your audience. Good luck to your company and your team and for you.
Okay, thank you, Gulya.